Good evening and welcome to the Select Board meeting for March 26, 2026. Thank you all for coming. Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20F, after notifying the chair of the public body, any person may record or transmit this open meeting. This hybrid meeting is being recorded by the town of Stockbridge. The names of members participating remotely will be announced. Any member of the public wishing to speak must first receive permission from the chair. The agenda items listed are those reasonably anticipated by the chair, but not all may be discussed, and other topics not listed may be brought up for discussion by the public body as permitted by law. And we wanted to make a special announcement. It doesn't necessarily pertain to this meeting. The Stockbridge boat ramp will be closed from April through the end of May as the state begins reconstruction of the boat ramp. There'll be more information on our April 2nd meeting. So this is the continuation of our public hearing to consider the application of Vanderbilt Berkshire Estate LLC for the property of Linda Susan Law, trustee of the Linda Susan Law Trust, located at 310 Old Stockbridge Road. The applicant is requesting authorization pursuant to Section 6.1.2 of the zoning bylaws to allow the extension, alteration, reconstruction, or change of use of a pre-existing non-conforming barn, and pursuant to Section 6.1.2 and 6.6 and 6.31 of the zoning bylaws to amend the existing special permit. The property is located on a R4 zone. Two things. Before we start the meeting, we'll have the applicant give any information they want to. We'll be able to ask questions. We would like the public to remain, let us do those questions, and there will be public comment. I thank you for your consideration. And I'm also going to read something I read in an earlier meeting. There's been a lot of emails, so I'll just remind people the scope of the Select Board's review for the record. Under Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 40A, the Select Board has authority to act on an application for a special permit, whether styled as a new permit or a modification or amendment of an existing permit, provided that all notice, hearing, and procedural requirements are satisfied. The procedural characterization of the application does not limit the board's scope of review. The board will apply the applicable special permit criteria set forth in the zoning bylaw, will evaluate the proposal as submitted based on the evidence in the record to the extent the revised plans present new issues, impacts, or considerations. The board may consider those matters fully, regardless of whether the application is characterized as a new special permit or amendment. The board will not consider arguments regarding litigation strategy, future appeals, or the motivation of any party. Our responsibility is to make findings based on the zoning bylaw criteria and the proposal before us. Thank you. And that is it. So, applicant, would you like to speak? Yes.
Madam Chair, thank you. For the record, Jonathan Silverstein for the applicant. With the board's permission, I have a few points I'd like to lead off with, and if it's acceptable to the board after public comment. And before the public hearing closes, we'd respectfully ask to have an opportunity to sort of give any closing remarks and address any issues that might come up that the board wants to hear about responses to during public comment. We've really appreciated the board's consideration, patience, diligence in reviewing this application, working with us as we work through the peer review comments. We think it's been a good process. We think it's made the project better, and we've taken a lot of the comments very seriously and submitted a lot more information as requested both by the board and the peer reviewer, and we think that's appropriate. This project, as currently proposed, has a lot of commonality with the original project, but we think it's improved upon it in a lot of ways. Yes, we've reduced the number of hotel units and correspondingly added the single family residences. We think that's an improvement to the project. It diversifies the project. It makes it, as with any diversification, it makes it more economically sustainable, and also reduces the total impacts by sort of spreading out, for instance, traffic impacts. And I think the board saw that with the traffic peer reviews. I can't say enough about the other members of this team, from landscape, architecture, engineering. I think the project before you is really presenting something that's top notch. I am not going to, very much taking to heart the statement you read again earlier. I'm not going to relitigate the issue of modification versus new permit. I don't really think it's necessary. I will say that we hope that as the board deliberates, the focus will be on what's changed. A lot hasn't changed, and we think it would be appropriate for the board to frame its deliberations based upon what's new, what's different, and we would respectfully ask that you do that. We've submitted a list of conditions. It has not changed in any material respect since the previous submission, except that I made some adjustments to it and resubmitted it the day after the last hearing session based on discussions. We also have agreed to the condition suggested regarding conducting a phase 1A and, as appropriate, phase 1B archaeological survey. And I understood from Mr. Canales that he had language for a condition, which we're happy to accept. To the extent that the board's going to be considering either any substantive revisions to the conditions we submitted or new conditions, we would just ask, since we haven't had an opportunity to confer either with town council or otherwise to review any potential new or different conditions, we would ask that as the board discusses those, if it intends to, that the hearing remain open solely for the purpose of allowing us and, of course, members of the public to comment on conditions, because otherwise there won't be an opportunity for us to sort of weigh in and sort of discuss if some proposed conditions might have unintended consequences that could really negatively impact the project. Other than that, I know that we're going to want to, as I said, give sort of a brief summation at the end of the public comment period, but I know we gave the board a lot of information and discussed a lot of information at the last hearing session. The board members of the board understandably wanted to go back and sort of digest it and think about it. And if that process has left board members with any additional questions, we're of course happy to answer them now, or I can sit down and we can hear from the public at your pleasure.
I do believe the board has a few questions, mostly about housing.
Sure.
Just some clarification, with the numbers and,
All right, I just have a question.
go ahead.
The proposed conditions that you gave us dated March 5th, that's the only condition you've submitted? Or have you submitted something to Michael since then?
No, I believe that was just after our last hearing session, if memory serves, and that would be the latest. I have not submitted anything.
Okay, I'm just,
Am I right? Yeah.
okay, I just was asking because,
Does the list you're looking at have that phase 1A archaeological stuff in it?
I took that off because Michael said he had language.
Oh, okay.
oh, okay.
And I sent that to legal.
Okay, I'm sorry then. Forget my question.
Thank you.
I had submitted one with that.
Okay.
And Michael had told me he wanted to use his language, so I took that out and resent it.
Okay, thank you.
So sorry if there was any confusion.
Just on my part.
So overall, the plan's pretty good. I like the not adding the addition to the hotel. Just simple use of that, of the main mansion. These separate rooms down below are fine. Landscaping's great. Everything else falls into place. What's kind of confusing is the housing. You're asking for 38 residential housing units. And then as you go through different places, we're seeing where 12 to 15 may be built by the resort to be rented out. It just, and then a maximum of 38 residential resort residents. The applicant may retain some or all of the resort residents and rent them as additional hotel resort keys, provided that no event shall the combined number of the resort residents hotel short keys exceed 112. Can you explain that? a little bit?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think from the outset, we've said it's possible that there won't be absorption, that there won't be a market for all 38. And as, you know, for sale units, and that we might decide for that reason or other business reasons to instead hold those units and rent them out as you would see villas rented out at a lot of luxury resorts. I know as a father and a family with 3 kids, it's not always feasible for my family when we go on vacation for us to stay in a hotel room. And it gets expensive if you start renting 3 or 4 hotel rooms. So sometimes we look for hotels that have these like villas that are more appropriate for a family. So from a business perspective, it's going to be sort of what's the market? Is there a market to sell all 38? Is there instead of more of a market to use them as part of the resort? Or some combination. And so that language is intended basically just to say, what we say we're going to build is what we're going to build. We're not doing any more. But whether some of those houses, maybe just as an initial period or long-term, are ultimately sold and owned individually or retained by the resort and rented. That's what that language is conveying.
Okay, so how many rooms are in the hotel part of all the small buildings in the mansion?
You mean the larger?
So the total number is 78 hotel.
Okay, so 78 hotel rooms.
74.
74.
My bad.
74 hotel rooms.
74 rooms.
Lodges.
26 in the manor house in the
Yeah.
balance.
Yeah, 26 in the manor house and the balance.
Okay.
And then Amstead has 48, so that equals 74.
Okay, and you're asking for 112 rooms?
Well, yeah, so the total number of units, obviously the houses might have more than one bedroom.
The same hotel's gonna have 4 or 5 bedrooms, so
They might, but
So you count them as a house as a unit?
But we would not rent the individual rooms in the house. If we retained any of those houses, we wouldn't be renting them out rooms in those houses out individually. They would be single units,
Right.
similar to a hotel suite.
But a house, instead of having 2 occupants, you might be having 6, 8, 10.
About 10.
No, you get a 4-bedroom
You
house.
could have a family like mine. You could have 6.
You know, you get
Potentially.
family members, aunts, uncles, kids, cousins, grandkids. I'm just
That's a
Generational.
possibility, and you could have that.
saying, so
Family house.
You could have that if it's a single family house as well. You know, if you own a vacation home, chances are you're gonna invite family to visit with you. And so I don't think the use is gonna be substantially different. It's really just a matter of, again, I mean, this is the restoration of the mansion is a big job. And the idea here is to diversify and give the project the financial basis to succeed.
okay, so you asked for 112, so you basically, the 74 to 38 housing comes to the 112.
That's right.
That's correct. 30 and the 74. 112.
But no Airbnb, nothing outside, any of the, you can't rent something out to anything that doesn't go through the front desk essentially.
Right. So that's an important point. In our proposed conditions, we make it clear that, let's say I buy one of the houses. If I want to rent it, I can't put it on Airbnb. And sort of, I think we all know that Airbnb sometimes there's a variability in terms of,
Party animals.
yeah, how well owners of Airbnbs, how good a job they do of managing things.
So
So the
some,
rules will be that if I buy a house in the complex and I want to, I'm going to be away for the summer and I want to be able to rent it out, it has to go through the front desk. It can't go through any third party, and it'll be managed professionally the way that any unit owned by the hotel itself would be managed.
So in the traffic study, it states the proposed development consisting of 74 hotel rooms, 23 single-family homes, and 15 recreational homes is projected to generate 44 trips during the weekday morning peak hour, 54 during the weekday. So when you had discussed how having these homes would bring the traffic down because it'd be single families, but if you're saying 15 of these homes could potentially be owned by the hotel, then you're going to have people coming and going because they want to see the sites. So that would in fact change the traffic study.
So could I actually?
And my other part of the question is, it was my understanding, that the homes would be sold and built sort of individually for, not bought by the hotel and then created.
Yeah, so let me clarify a couple things. In our application from day one, we made it clear that it's possible that some of these homes might be retained by the hotel. So that is not a new suggestion, but I want to clarify the language from the traffic study. That clarification of 15 recreational homes and 23 single-family homes, that was actually a determination by the traffic consultant. And the significance of it is that recreational homes actually carry a significantly lower traffic demand than single-family homes. So even though we think it likely that a good number of these residences will be second homes, will be vacation homes, and that's what's called a recreational home under the ITE, the Institute of Traffic Engineers. Conservatively, the traffic consultant only treated 15 of the 38 as second homes and considered that the remaining 23 would be essentially year-round full-time residences, and that increased the traffic numbers.
Remember the rule of thumb for a single-family home traffic generation is 10 trips a day. Because people come and they go to work and they go back and they go grocery shopping and then they pick up the kids. So a single-family home, full-time residence has more traffic generation than a weekend home.
So had we treated all 38 as vacation homes, the traffic numbers would have been much, much lower. But the traffic consultant, because the trips per day attributable to a recreational home is lower than for a year-round single-family home. That estimate was determined by the traffic consultant, as I said, to be conservative, and it's unrelated to that. That's separate from the issue of whether any of the residences will be retained by the hotel.
And I will add that your reviewer from early on, when they looked at the traffic study, thought that it was appropriate.
Yeah.
So, and they're familiar with this issue. So we felt that we were right in making that.
Yeah. So, but I can
Trying to
see,
get clarity about the houses, the numbers and the use.
I can see why you would connect those terms in the traffic study with what we're talking about now, but they're actually unrelated. If anything, because the recreational home category isn't the same as a hotel villa. So look, I think the fact is we don't really expect there not to be a market for these homes. And I don't want to speak out of school, but if the board has substantial concerns about some of these homes, I feel like I was yelling, with some of these homes potentially being retained and rented by the hotel, if that is a substantial concern to the board, I'm not sure that that's a hill we're going to die on. If you'd rather not have us have that ability, I don't think that's the end of the world. It'd be nice to have that flexibility as just from a business standpoint, but that's not.
It
That's
makes
not
sense
make
from
or
the
break.
homeowner's perspective too, because I don't know if you guys are familiar with like other resort areas around Jiminy Peak, for example. You buy the condo and they'll rent it for you. It's a similar concept.
Except I know because we just rented a place in Stowe at Stowe Mountain Resort for a weekend. And we just did that through Airbnb. And there's no control by the
Huh.
hotel,
Well,
the resort
that's not
management.
Jiminy Peak.
So there's a lot more control the way that we're proposing it. But again, if the board feels strongly that we shouldn't retain any of the homes and be able to incorporate them into the resort, then we'll give up on that.
Okay,
I'm just gonna wait. I thought Jamie, I wanted to make sure Jamie was done.
I think I'm done for right now.
Go ahead, Jackie.
Chuck?
I'll wait.
I'm just digesting all this. Because I have no issue with, because we allowed that before, if the homeowner wants to rent it out and goes through with the resort, that's not an issue because we let that go. Correct? With the other project. They can rent those houses through the resort.
The houses were being built by the resort,
Oh, yeah.
fully designed, fully laid out, the rest.
And sold.
Yes, not single family properties as proposed here.
They're selling the house.
Yes.
Just one other thing to throw out there is, again, the way we proposed it, if an owner wants to rent it and it's done through the resort, the town gets the occupancy tax, the hotel occupancy tax, because it would be rolled in, so.
Too much.
Georgia?
I'm having a hard time with, I have to say, with the density of 38 homes. I've been right from the get-go, it's 38 homes there have just not settled well with me. And then after reading this, that what's in the document about some of them may be built by Vanderbilt, Berkshire, and then reading this condition, I feel that it's just not setting well with me, I guess, is what I want to say. I don't know if that's the right word, but if it is going to be, if you are going to do 15, why aren't they looking like the Olmsted hotel rooms, because they're part of the hotel?
So again, the 15 number is unrelated to that proposed condition. That was an attribution by the traffic consultant of how many they conservatively estimated that only 15 of the 38 homes would be seasonal or vacation homes. Because although we think it's likely the vast majority of them will be seasonal vacation homes, if they said these were all going to be seasonal vacation homes, the traffic numbers would be much lower, because the ITE trip generation manual attributes a much lower daily traffic generation for a vacation home than it does for a single family home. So that 15 number has nothing to do with whether we own it or it's sold to an individual. That was a sort of determination by the traffic consultant to say, we're only going to give the benefit of this lower trip generation for vacation homes to 15 of the 38 houses, even though we think most of these houses will likely be vacation homes. And we were fine with that conservative approach. The 15 has nothing to do with our thinking that we're going to keep 15 of the houses for ourselves. And again, if that is of concern to you, we'll give up on the ability to build and retain any of those homes as part of the resort. If that makes you feel more uncomfortable with it, I will say that the program, the number of houses, it is pretty important. There are a lot of things that we're happy to talk to the board about to sort of address any specific concerns. Reducing the number of homes would really be a big impact on the viability of the project. Now, and I guess the question is it the number for the number's sake, or is it because there's some concern about how it will result in impacts? Because as Rosetta has discussed, and David, most of these homes are not going to be visible. They're going to be highly landscaped, the topography of the property. So really the only impact is going to be on other portions of the property, and the substantial tax revenue to the town year in, year out.
But it's taking away open space. That's just.
So if the concern is open space, then let's talk about how the conditions can be tightened up so that open space impacts can be minimized. Though I will say that the vast majority of the 90-acre property is remaining open space. But I hear you and we're happy to talk about that.
And Michael has a question.
Just
For clarity.
clarification.
Of course.
Because you have in that it's referred to as any and all of the 38 homes may be retained.
That's how we proposed it.
Right. Which technically means they could be, all 38 could be built by the hotel, retained by the hotel, and used as you stated, hotel villas.
That's absolutely accurate in terms of how it's written. I just told you that we're happy to get rid of that altogether and make it none. If the board's inclined to give us flexibility on something between all and none, that's even better. But we're willing to take none, so we'd certainly be willing to take 5, 10, whatever the board's happy with.
Does it matter to the board if they were constructed and owned by individuals or non-associated third parties, but could participate in a rental pool if they wanted to? Okay,
Yeah,
in other words,
that's
not
different.
owning
That's a
Are
timeshare.
you talking to me, Elizabeth, or the whole board?
the whole board.
Okay,
Explain that. I'm sorry.
So I think what Jonathan had said is the hotel might choose to build some and rent them. What I'm asking is, would the board prefer if it would the houses had to be constructed by independent third parties, someone who came in to buy a house lot or, you know, a condominium, built a single family structure, but they could participate in the rental pool if they own the house and they wanted to rent. Is that, I don't think that's.
Well, you already have that there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's in there. If
That's
they
already-
build a house and they.
Is that part of your, you know,
Yeah,
that is
that's
no
not-
That's
objection?
not, I don't, the issue, I mean, if they build a house for the summer
Yeah.
and you rent it out for them for the winter, I don't have an issue with that.
So you have an issue with the hotel owning and building the houses?
I'm
Because I
just,
think that
All
is,
right, what's the,
You know, 'cause-
what's the,
what you're saying is he's gonna have 38, if you build them 30, you're adding 38 units to the hotel. If you build them all yourselves.
can I?
I'm just, maybe I'm wrong.
I understand. Can I just make a suggestion? Let's just say that's not an option. And if for some reason we ever want to change that, we would have to come back to you. Let's just take that off the table because that seems to be a concern for the board and we're willing to give it up. And just say, if that's something that's of concern, we don't want that to become a point of debate. We're happy to give it back.
can you?
They would have to come back as a modified
Sum that up so everyone can understand what you're saying.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is, we will give up on any of these house sites being able to be developed and retained by the hotel as proposed. In that condition, we'll just remove that language so that the hotel cannot retain those units. They have to be sold to and buyers.
yeah.
but then the buyers could give it to the hotel to rent for the winter or something,
Yes.
or the
That's
summer.
what we.
For a week,
That's-
then here or there, whatever. I mean, that's,
That's
Still
common
the
on
same.
things, so that's not an issue to me.
well,
Maybe
I-
you, I'm just thinking.
I'm hearing different things.
Yeah.
To me,
I'm just hearing different things from the, I'm trying to be
Right.
responsive to what I'm hearing.
okay,
I just heard Chuck say that he didn't have an issue with that. If other board members have an issue with that, we're here to talk. It would be nice for someone who's spending a lot of money on a luxury vacation home if they're not going to be around and they want to rent it out.
I mean, you want a house off the property, you got that option, so.
Yeah, I mean,
Exactly.
I don't see we're taking an option away
the
from a
impact would be much
homeowner.
lower because it's going to be
Because it's-
professionally managed through the resort. We'd like to be able to do that, and that's certainly nothing new. If the concern is the ownership, the hotel building and owning these units and just sort of holding them in forever as part of the hotel, we'll just give that up.
If I could also further explore with you the concerns you might have about the single family homes. You mentioned loss of open space, but Are there offsite impacts that you think we haven't addressed? Because we thought the only offsite impact is traffic. And that traffic was considered acceptable by our consultant and your consultant.
Thanks.
So we're not seeing visual impacts from the road.
That was another question I have. Okay.
That we have concluded and we have.
Yes, I have.
The two of before and after.
Oh, no, I don't.
Okay.
Oh, well,
Sorry.
we have included in our submissions plan showing the view from Old Stockbridge Road now and what it would be with the construction and
Full construction.
the vegetated buffer and the plants and the trees
in the topography.
and the topography will shield the neighborhood from visual impact.
Well, even if it isn't shield, even if it's today, we just did what we were doing, we did the front of the road, it's the same. You can't see
Okay.
our houses.
Yeah.
Even from the abutters.
There may,
Yes.
I thought that Rosetta said there may be abutters who could stand in their yard and see one of the houses on the edge, to see this thing, yeah. But it would be through,
But not in your. driveway.
normal vegetation. It's not gonna be right in there.
And I
And
question
actually-
if seeing a house over 100 some feet away through vegetation, just seeing a house is such a terrible thing. But it would be one, it wouldn't be many of them. And just Beal's initial report, they acknowledged that the revised project, including the homes, will not have any increase in offsite impacts. The only thing they cited was a change to on-site impacts, including open space, which, I think we've made a lot of progress towards throughout the process. Submitting an open space plan and landscaping plans and
Yeah,
so,
as far as the coverage for the houses, I mean, if you're going 7,500 square feet max, some will be smaller, as you said, correct? And that's driveways, garages, decks, patios.
So I want to be
That's only
really-
around 6 acres.
So I want to be really clear. What we proposed is 7,500 square feet of building footprint. And we added in the language as suggested at the last hearing session, that would also include if someone wanted to put in a hot tub, lat pool or whatever, that would also be included. It would not include if someone wants to put in a deck or a pergola. Well, actually, it would include a deck.
Yeah.
It would not include a patio.
Yes, some patios are.
Would not.
It would
Deck is a
not include a
structure.
patio.
And you said driveway, it would include the driveway.
It would not include the driveway.
Because there's split driveways, and there are two people per driveway. And it's generally never included.
No, but that's what I heard last time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
heard
heard that
think
too. It
early
was
on, I thought we ended up getting to clarification and that it did not include patios or driveways.
Well, I know that include
Yeah,
patios,
we-
driveways wasn't that brought up.
Well, you said no patio, but I said patio. I'm just saying.
It basically, we're
Because it's-
saying anything that goes below grade is counted as footprint.
Yeah, so
So
garage.
a deck, for example, is gonna have concrete sonotubes that are gonna support it.
Yeah,
That's part of the footprint.
yeah.
It's basically exactly how we define it in our bylaws.
Yeah, and
When we're doing, non-conforming lots, all that, it's the same exact idea. So you wouldn't count the patio on grade, we typically don't count that.
And it's not considered a structure.
But it was said that way last time, so I'm just clarifying it.
Yeah, thank you.
I got this in my head and now that's why I'm questioning the
Thought
density,
we had
the
got.
density, the open space, the number, the 38 is just like,
garages, decks, pools,
Structures.
sheds.
Any structure, any building above ground plus any pool.
Lat pool.
So a deck, a shed, a garage, a house,
No tennis courts.
No.
whatever. Anything above grade plus a pool, even if it's in ground. That's what we're proposing to be included. The driveways, just so you know, to limit the amount of land disturbance in impervious space, those are going to be shared driveways that are going to serve 2 home sites each. So
And the house lots are together, sort of clustered. It also in an effort to keep the large areas of open space, right? That's what
So it says 1/4 to 1/2 an acre for each one. How are they going to have, and they're going to have a shared driveway?
yes.
And how do you determine 1/4 to 1/2 an acre?
No, Ken,
You want to put David on the
Ken.
Yeah, I could address that if it's okay with the board. I don't think I can turn on video, but I don't think I have that ability.
Yeah, just we're both here if you do want to ask questions. Sorry, David.
Right.
That's
David,
right.
I think Beth's point is really important that what you're referring to is density. Yes, there is an overall number of 38 homes, and I would agree fundamentally that the project would be a little bit worse if it were 39 and a little bit worse if it were 40. Like, I think a low number, is a good thing for generally, working on a property. What we're given here is a target, and the target is not we have to make a bunch of money. The target is we have to fund this giant lift of the historic grounds and manor renovation, restoration. And those 38 lots are, in fact, the economic driver. And so what we've done is a very conscious choice, which is to load those home sites in the area, which is basically a seam between the most precious, what we consider to be the very precious historic landscape of the manor and grounds, and then the lowlands, which are the more ecologically precious, bordering Lily Pond. And so, yes, if you were to look at that tree line, the houses are dense in the sense that they are closer to each other left and right, but they are also pulling themselves back into a line, allowing them to be a little bit closer than you might see in a conventional subdivision, in order to keep that big open space, which is what is visible from Stockbridge Road, and to keep the big wooded wetland open space down below. It's a very intentional strategy, and the density is not the key. For us, it's the visual impact and the ecological impact. You asked about the 1/4 to 1/3 an acre or whatever the number is. So the fact is that each of these home sites does have its sort of domain around it, where they're allowed to do this, as we said, the vertical construction, to plant some of their own plants, these kinds of things. And we think that actually varies. Some of the home sites are steep, and so we want that area to be very small. Some of the home sites that are up, closer to sort of the back cottages in the existing south parcel, actually they're flat, they're more expansive, and those areas can be larger. But it's not a lot. It's a home site with the restrictions that we've talked about before, and that is the area that you can disturb with, which allows the landscape to surround and penetrate, so that a human or a bird or a small mammal can go between those groups of home sites from one to the other. That's the goal, and I can't say whether we've satisfied it for you or done. We think we've done a good job with the density that we're starting with.
What is the total acreage for the 38 homes? Chuck says six acres. I'd like to know myself what your acreage is for these total 38 homes.
Can I just clarify? Are you saying what the development area will be, or what the home sites themselves add up to?
The whole homestead.
The whole property.
Not what's built on.
Not the whole property.
You're building 38 new
Yeah, if I could approach.
pieces of property.
This is from the submission most recently done in March, with Jonathan's letterhead, and this was the landscape.
David or Rosetta, would you be able to put up?
Are you asking the total acre in this zone where the
Yeah.
houses are? Okay, David?
I'm not.
So, yeah, this is a slide.
He's asking for the total acreage in the home site area. You know that zone?
Right.
Yes,
Unfortunately, I'm down south and I do not have the slide in front of me, but we've
Rosetta,
shown
do
it
you
to.
know?
Well, I mean, it's one of the reasons we give the measured plans. We can measure it. I don't have it right in front of me. Would you like me to go
Yeah,
measure
I
it?
think she would like to know if you could figure out that zone, right? You would
Yeah.
like to know.
Of
That would be
course,
great.
I
mean, that's-
understand.
I have Long Meadow is 10 acres, and I know we said something about not to, the other open space area was.
We
What?
currently have a total of 41 acres provided, and we're aiming to have 50 acres total easily of open space, and that does not include the open space that is around each home site.
Right, not including the open space around the home
So
site.
maximum acreage would be, if you're doing 7,500 square feet, you only do to half the lot. So the lot, your average lot, your biggest lot is 15,000 square feet.
So I think.
So that times the 38 is.
Something different from what we're doing.
Yeah, no, she wants the total acreage
That's the
of,
plan.
Of the area. And
yeah. But,
Yeah.
right, but if you're saying 7,500 square feet
Max.
maximum of half the building lot, you can't exceed half the building lot.
Oh, exactly.
That means a 7,500 square foot house has to be on a 15,000 square.
That's right.
So if you take the 15,000 by the 38, that's the maximum allowed. Well,
Except many of the home sites are not going to.
right, that's the maximum.
Most of them, most of them.
So 15,000 times 38.
I just wanted to jump in. I'm so sorry. It's hard because we're back here in the Zoom world, but I want to just take a moment, if I may, to emphasize something David said, that this road that we have very deliberately concentrated those structures around, and inaccessible means to that road to promote the environmental and infrastructural efficiency. If we were to have a larger area, we would simply create more disturbance around the property. So we're fostering density on purpose to reduce impacts. If what the board is saying is, why don't we have more area there, then we would automatically have more disturbance in both the historic meadow and in the preserve, the wooded preserve. So, just to say what's generated is quite deliberate.
If you could estimate the acreage, we calculated roughly 12 acres.
Right, 6 feet of building.
It's
12
probably
acres where the houses will be built.
And some of these,
Out of the 90, right? 90 acres in the whole.
and some are single driveways and some are two.
correct.
Almost
It's
very
probably a
few
little
singles.
over.
There's a couple are single.
It was
Let me
based on
just-
topography.
I'd just like to clarify,
Okay.
when Rosetta and I think about the density or the impact on this site versus open space, we actually think about, a larger area because, if we're calculating all the homes there's a number to them and we multiply a number times 38 and we get a number. So everywhere that road goes, and these home sites go, that's the impact on the land. And it's been located where we think that actually the forest that exists is degraded and full of invasives and needs reshaping. And in fact, there's erosion issues in the land. So it's not just a matter of a helicopter dropping down a 7,500 square foot, rectangle or polygon in a bunch of areas. We're locating this linear piece of infrastructure through there and then trying to bunch all of the stuff up against it, meaning that the residences, the lodges, even some amenities. That's the way to think about it. And we've given you a diagram from the very beginning of the project that basically says there's this ring, and that includes some number of acres, which I don't have off the top of my head. And then downhill of it is a conservation area, and that's 30 some acres. And then uphill of it is a manor and grounds, which includes the manor and all the land around it. And that's another number. And I think that's a more accurate representation than just multiplying 7,500 times or 15,000 times 6 or times 38.
Okay.
The reason I say that is because that number's been very consistent. It's wobbled an acre or two, but we basically kept that promise to you of that development zone around the perimeter.
Okay,
I have two other questions.
yeah, you go ahead first.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I just wanted to ask, the parking for the manor house, there's two parking lots and I see that there's a lot of landscaping around them and everything. Am I correct in that you are not going to be able to see it from Old Stockbridge Road? The parking lot, the two parking lots for the manor house and the homestead?
That is correct. It's also correct because if you look at the section, it is not just the plants that are screening, but there is topography. So there's a mound, sort of a hillock, and then the first parking lot that I think you're referring to is then sunken below that grade, and then the second one is sunken even further down. And so your view line is never sees the lots.
Okay. And then there's proposed a lot of added trees and shrubs all the way across the front. So that when they're right. So you're not going to be able to see that from Old Stockbridge Road. And the entrance that now is the gated entrance, that's going to have a lot more trees and so forth, all the way across the front, correct?
Correct. If you look at the plan, the light gray sort of larger circles are the existing trees. And you can see there actually aren't very many and how many we're adding. And we're also adding them at different heights because really just to plant a tree doesn't do a lot with screening. You need also like 10-foot shrubs so that when the tree is taller, that you don't see through as much.
Okay, thank you. One other question I have is regarding the signage. And I know that you're not prepared with the signage. I understand that. But it's still something that we need to have to be able to try to figure out this special permit, positive or whatever. And one of the things is that I'm questioning now is the spa going to be able to be used for transient people to come in or just for the hotel? And there should be signage if, we're allowing you to build these houses, there should be signage at that gate, that opening where they're going to be driving through, which is this, I presume the same one as the spa. Is that going to have, it's got to have a sign directing people to go to there, to go to the spa, construction, whatever. And I would think that you would have some kind of a conceptual idea of signage for the two entrances at least.
So, as I mentioned last time, there are basically two classes of signage that are going to be on the property. There's the wayfinding signage, which is, I think, what you're referring to. And until the landscaping is in, you place the trees on the ground, you figure out how everything lays out, you avoid the little ledge outcroppings. It's impossible for us to know where wayfinding signage is going to go. And that's really sort of an internal management issue. But in terms of the other class of signage, which is, the hotel sign, it's going to say the name of the resort, probably have the name of the restaurant and the name of the spa. And then it's, we've said we recognize that requires your approval. We're not ready to ask for it yet, but we know we have to come back. So this approval will not include approval of any signs. And we're going to come back to you when we have sign designs. I mean, that's really like it's almost like picking the menu for the restaurant. You're not going to do that till you have approval of the restaurant. We're going to have to come back to you. We recognize that no signage is being approved. We're just not ready to ask for.
Can we say that we will comply, or can you put a condition, we will comply with your extensive signage bylaw?
You have
That's in
to,
my
We
proposal.
will have to,
you
yeah.
have to.
But I'm just wondering if,
It's not a condition, that's a
Yeah.
must.
But we're,
Yeah,
we're
we have-
also saying we recognize we have to bring it to you.
and then the spa, is it going to be open to the public or just for the hotel?
I mean, like any hotel spa, I mean, I don't think any hotel spa says it's limited to guests of the hotel. But, I mean, the restaurant is much more likely to attract people.
Completely much better.
Honestly, if you want to get a massage or a facial, you're gonna pay probably half if you go to an independent place than if you go to a hotel spa.
Well, I'm being the devil's advocate here. I just wanted to know whether,
Yeah, so I mean,
if I decided I wanted a
I
spa
don't think
day
it'll be
at
closed.
Vanderbilt Berkshires, then could I go there?
Yes. Right, I mean, yes, you could.
Business.
How likely is that? I
Probably
think you're
not,
more
but-
likely to want to go and have a drink on the terrace. I am anyway.
At the restaurant.
Okay, so
I don't know.
we just gotta decide on the housing,
Yep, that's,
because that's, I know it's a financial asset to
Correct.
the project. I don't know how my colleagues feel, but I'll be comfortable with 20 private and 18 hotel units. No, 20,
Up to 18 of them being hotel.
18 under your
Of the
building,
38.
20 a private building.
Okay, 18 to 20, yeah.
But that's an up to number, not
At 30.
requiring 18 of them to be hotel units.
No, you want to sell more privately, the 20,
Yeah,
20 for the private, leave you the opportunity for 18.
Right,
okay.
If you want to sell more than 20, then I would go with,
understood, that's more than fair.
that's my thought, I don't know how my colleagues feel.
and then the 20 that you're proposing, would they be able to also rent through the hotel?
Well, like any other house, if somebody's just up for the summer and they can rent it out for the winter for skiers and stuff, I mean, that's kind of a resident.
I mean, honestly,
Anybody
the
owns a house?
alternative is that instead of renting through the hotel, they rent through Airbnb.
No, to the hotel.
And
Yeah.
I don't think you want that.
No.
And we certainly don't, so.
They'll get the revenue, which is huge.
Well,
And that's just,
Or it was
You can't go.
team residential.
Or any of the.
I mean, that's up to you guys if you're, this is throwing something out there.
Yep,
Yeah, obviously we'll take whatever you decide.
Hmm.
You want to hear from the public and then allow them
Yeah.
host?
Then we can keep talking after that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, additional questions.
And that's checks.
But we can't cover it.
No, but afterwards you could address any concerns.
Yeah, I'm a little stuck on the numbers of houses. Unfortunately, tourism is our economic development, not other industries coming. So I do struggle with the number. 38 is really big. Though I understand they'll be beautiful and well maintained. I think I'm leaning more towards like 28 houses. And
total?
yeah, but it may not be reasonable, but I can have an opinion. They're still worthy houses, going to bring in lots of money. The hotel is sure to. I don't know. I will, Georgia, do you have anything before we open it to public comment?
Not at this point in time. I have to digest this. Sorry.
So what we'll do is we'll open to public comment. We'll run it like before, state your name, and you'll be able to speak. And then we go back to finish up our own deliberation. So I'll start with the floor. Sally, would you like to speak? And I have to get my timer.
Why never speak? I'm Sally Underwood Miller, 10 Rattlesnake Mountain Road. I remember very distinctly you're including the driveway in the square footage at the last meeting. I remember that. I wrote it down. I would be happy to show you my notes if you would like. And I also, you talked about screening for the neighbors. You can't forget that this is in Scenic Mountains. So you're also screening for the neighbors on the other side of the lake. And houses that are going to be built cannot be seen or cannot break the ridge line as you look at them from. And we've done balloon checks from across the lake. I mean, we could potentially be looking from Olivia's overlook to see if we can see the houses. So you're going to really have to keep in mind where the trees are going to be.
Right, I believe we have done that challenge. Yeah, no, I mean. Oh, sorry.
And also, native species should be your primary thinking when you're talking about plantings.
Thank you, Sally. Anyone else on the floor? Patrick?
I want to keep my comments to my personal experience living on the edge of that pond for 63 years, having my parents have a house for 10 more years on that. That watershed is so special, and it extends from the top of the hill in Lenox down through the Freelandhuizen and Tanglewood extensive forested properties. It goes through what used to be Foster Robertson. Remember Foster Robertson, that farm? That's now basically been flooded by beavers because the homeowners there didn't keep it as farmland. You have so much wildlife and an existing corridor for migration that goes from the top of Lenox all the way down to Stockbridge Bowl. Frankly, you know, we're hearing comments about sightlines. As somebody who has walked those, unless Billy Bone is in the room, nobody knows this land better than me in this room. All right. And have spent a lifetime seeing the animals of every type that you could imagine enjoy that watershed. My concern is what the alternatives are. You start thinking about subdividing that land into 4-acre lots, and that goes right down to the water. That huge corridor that allows animals to pass by is then interrupted. I stare out at that mountain every morning when I have my coffee from my house. I can see the pond 10 months a year, 9 months a year when there's not vegetation. And my big concern here is, listen to what the governor said. When she said she was going to make ADUs by right, she did. That doubled the density of every single lot in this state. What did she say she's going to do next? She is going to go after large lot zoning. The Democratic Party in the state feels large lot zoning is racist. I don't agree with that. I know the people who wrote our zoning. This had to do with protecting the borders of the town. But if the government in the state of Massachusetts gets rid of 2 or 3 or 4-acre zoning, you could be looking at 80 units up there by right that are carved into little squares, and that ruins that mountain. Listen to what they say and what they do, and they've done it.
Thank you, Patrick. From the floor right here.
Is this okay?
Yes.
I hope I can see behind that. I'm Bill Corby. I'm at 232 Old Stockbridge Road. I'm on the west side of the road, 2 houses up from Elm Court. Stockbridge and Lenox are just beautiful and desirable places, in part because of regulations, zoning, the Berkshire Scenic Mountain Act. And putting 50 houses in this area is really an affront to those regulations. By comparison, I don't know if the board or others are familiar with the Stone Hill development just south of Elm Court on Old Stockbridge Road. I think it was developed by a Mr. Spencer. There are probably 10 to 12 houses in there, appropriately spaced on 3 to 5 acres, and almost no traffic is added to Old Stockbridge Road as a result, because it's appropriate. The density is right there. Old Stockbridge Road is a beautiful road, but it will be changed by this project, and I want to preserve Elm Court. I think it's a beautiful building. I love it. I wish something along the lines of the Mount, something similar to that restoration could be done. I wish it could be preserved, but I just don't want to see our environment and the street and the safety all just compromised. Thank you.
Gentle time, thank you. Anyone else from the floor? Yes, you may come up.
Me?
Yep.
Carolyn Corby, 232 Old Stockbridge Road. I think most of you know how I feel about the conservation of the woods. I'm with Patrick. I walk those woods. I don't walk them much anymore because I'm getting older. But the animals are very important to me, and their survival means a lot. On the other hand, I've been a realtor for over 40 years. I'm retired now. But I've never seen a condominium project that allows people to have their own pools. Usually they're provided by the condominium project, one pool for the houses, not individual pools. And they have control over what's allowed. Are people going to be able to have outdoor fire pits? Are they going to be able to have great big gatherings? Because a lot of these condo places don't allow that. And I guess what I hear and have heard for 3 meetings is a real vagueness about the plans. There's no specifics. Well, we'll get to that. We'll do that when it comes up. You let us know what's what. We're abutters. We don't want to hear all this construction go on for 10 years at a time. It's sickening. You have a scenic mountain law that I think is appropriate. You did nothing when my neighbors cut down 18 acres of woods. 3 houses cleared down to the acreage before the pond, the ledge that goes down. But there's all meadow now. There's no woods there. So what happened? What happened to the scenic mountain law? Anyway, that's how I feel.
Thank you. The back.
Hi, I'm Mike Lucia, 261 Old Stockbridge Road. And keep this brief, but just to distill the points, the applicant is seeking an amendment instead of a full new review. I just want to go back to the peer review, the bullet point in their introductory comments were due to the extent of the changes and the significant changes discussed. We believe this should be considered a new application and not an amendment or modification to the current special permit. And I think after that, there isn't much to say. Thank you.
Thank you. In the front. You may.
Hi, my name is Leslie Chesloff, and I just want to say I support this project tremendously. I think it's going to be great for the people that actually live in the area. I think your home prices are going to go up. And I think that
The reality is the fact that we have somebody that is willing to preserve this property is huge. Now, you mentioned about other condominium type places. Canyon Ranch, by the way, does it the same way. If you own one of the condominiums at Canyon Ranch, there's 19 of them, you cannot rent them out. Canyon Ranch does that for you. And this way they are able to control what happens in those condominiums. There also is a road called Pinecroft Drive where Canyon Ranch sold lots, very similar to this. They were larger and people could build, I mean, there's a 7,000 square foot house. That's not what they're talking about. And it has a pool and it has a guest house. So again, I think what they are proposing makes perfect sense. And I think it will just beautify the area. And the tax ramifications are fabulous.
But not for Lennox.
Not for Lennox.
But you live in Stockbridge.
No, I don't. I live in Lennox.
Order. Thanks. Anyone from the floor? Right here. Eric?
Eric Egan, 60 Mackinac Road. This might be old news, I don't know, but in the submission for an amendment to the existing special permit, there was a comparison of keys from the original 2014 special permit, what we're doing. True? Sorry.
Eric,
We're asked not to answer.
you can't answer your questions.
Okay.
It's public comment. You can say what you'd like.
I think it'd be more appropriate to compare beds from the original project to what this project is. I'm not saying that the project is good or bad or whatever. I'm just saying if you want to compare apples to apples, beds would be more appropriate. The other thing has to do with the traffic study. Do we know how many employees on a typical day will be working? And do we have a number? No.
No, I can't answer.
I understand. Are those trips included in the traffic study? Yes. Thank you.
Anyone else from the floor? The woman with a hat.
I'm Mara Sofia Komarebi, 211 Veteran Memorials Highway. My concerns reflect some of the neighbors here. I believe this is approximately 90-acre property on Lily Pond, which the majority is in Stockbridge. There's been other people here as well commenting in the audience about the tax increases for Lennox, despite the fact that the majority of the property is actually in the town of Stockbridge. In addition to that, the limited natural resources that are being used for this project is concerning. Again, echoing the neighbors, disturbing the wildlife, as well as the topography and the ecology of the soil itself, in which insects are a large part of our survival as a species as well. A lot of people don't give them enough credit, but we need the insects, and disturbing the soil in which where they live, and that is their habitat. It's not just about cutting down trees, it's also about disturbing the soil and ripping up the ground itself. The additional consideration would be for the ancient native ancestors, the Munsee tribes, the burial grounds that are also in this area. And finally, just the aspect of how feasible this is in terms of sustainability. As I believe many of us know and can see, the world is literally on fire. we have every state, city, country in the world having issues with flooding, wildfires, et cetera. And it's because of the fact that people are putting profits over our mother. This is our home. We only have one home. We're not making more land, but we're building more buildings. We're tapping into all these resources, which is concerning for people who live here that have children and want to have grandchildren and great grandchildren.
Sorry, gentle,
Have things in the future.
gentle time. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
And I would just, one final comment, ask that if this does go through, however it does wind up going through, to maybe consider, to make it more sustainable, consider making a plant-based vegan spa, restaurant, whatever.
Thank you. Anyone else from the floor? Right.
Hi, my name is Steve Sorry, and I the 253 Old Stockbridge Road. I'm not a Stockbridge resident, although I grew up here, and the only tie I have directly to Stockbridge is I'm a member of the Stockbridge Golf Club for 32 years. But I grew up here. And I grew up across the street from that mansion. There's nothing more I want than to have that mansion remain beautiful. But what I really can't tolerate is the fact that this plan is gonna double the number of cars on a daily basis than the original plan. And I have spent 48 years in the audio business, running radio stations, networks, and the noise is gonna be amplified. It's gonna be much noisier than it is right now on Old Stockbridge Road. Not to mention the amount of traffic. And I gotta tell you, it's almost like a racetrack on that road right now. And unfortunately, the whole road is in Lenox. But the cars are all headed towards Stockbridge or from Stockbridge to Lenox. I support the renovation of the mansion. I have a real problem with the noise and also the fact of the congestion. So, thank you.
Thank you. The woman in the back.
Thank you. My name's Pastor Lloyd Russo. I grew up in the Berkshires and I live at 260 Pittsfield Road in Lenox. My concern is for the preservation of the Berkshires. We are seeing buildings go up left and right, and it's all about the money. What about, I just want to commend Sophia on everything that she said. What about the beautiful Berkshires? What about the hillsides and the wildlife that's in the hills, in the fields? Once we move that soil, there's no going back. Preservation for the Muncie tribe, for Stockbridge Muncie tribe, should be at the front and foremost of this. Thank you.
Thank you. The gentleman with the sweatshirt.
Wayne Lemansky, 15 Crothingham Crossing in Lenox, Mass. I guess under my consideration is the applicant really going to be the developer of the property? And I say that for a couple of different reasons. Number one is the applicant bought the property over 3.5 years ago. And up until, I think it was 6 months ago, the applicant never approached the neighbors to talk to them about what the development was going to be. So we were left completely in the dark. Number two is the applicant, to my knowledge, really hasn't contributed at all to Lenox or Stockbridge. I've never seen any contributions made to Shakespeare and Company, Tanglewood. And so I don't think that there really is anything that's going to say to me, this applicant is going to actually develop this property. I've been by the mansion. I go by there 2 times a day. And I've never seen anything done on the mansion. The mansion, they talked about the fact that they want to preserve this property, but the mansion itself really has had no major work done on it. And then we're talking about, the lots are gonna be able to fund the restoration of the mansion. The mansion should be the number one thing that's gonna be preserved. That should be the number one objective in this whole process, is take the mansion, make sure that is done first, then the rest of the development can go through. And lastly, I would say in regards to who's gonna be really developing this property, the principal did the same thing in Blantyre in Lennox. They went through this whole process, they got the approvals, and what they did is they sold the property. And to my opinion, that's exactly what's going to happen. You're here before the board to get a saleable piece of property, not to develop it.
Gentle time, thank you. Anyone else on the floor? The man in the back?
This used to be a poster board here. Hi, everybody. My name is Adam Plumer. I live at 6 Lee Drive. I'm one of Patrick's neighbors. Patrick. I just wanted to take a moment to address the fact that we've got a lot of our neighbors from Lennox here, and a lot of them have had the courage to come up here and speak eloquently into a lot of the issues that they care about. And I want to outline that from my perspective, this is an interesting point. We've got a tremendous number of people from Lennox, very few from Stockbridge speaking on the same level with the same urgency. And I'm not going to say, from my perspective, I'm not going to weigh in on these points, but I do want to clarify that there is an outsized benefit versus risk between the towns. I'm not going to say that we should legislate that issue here. And so what I'm trying to say is that Lennox is supporting this project. They are supporting it with utilities, they're supporting it with approvals, they're supporting it tacitly. And I don't know if it's our position as the town of Stockbridge, who only serve to benefit, self-interestedly or not, to comment on that specific position. Now, I respect all of those points. I really do. But I don't know how much we can weigh on those here. What I can weigh on specifically is how this is going to impact more so the traffic and utility position of these people who are going to be Stockbridge residents. Specifically, we still don't have any kind of clarity on sidewalks, trails, movement of pedestrians. I heard the comparison to a racetrack of Old Stockbridge Road, 100% accurate. I'm not saying these problems aren't solvable, but there are also other utility questions that I don't have answers to. For instance, and I'll end on this, is that we're talking about transit in a complicated area.
Just wrap
10 more seconds? Yeah.
Yep.
We're talking about transit in a complicated area. We're talking about transit in an area with no self-service. We're talking about transit to an area with 2 entrances. We're talking about transit to an area with limited sight lines. To me, this presents challenges that we don't have answers to. To my fellow neighbors in Lennox, thanks for speaking on your issues as well.
Thank you. Right, on the Zoom board, I see Julie Edmonds. You want to speak?
I can speak. I don't know if my video is on. I just want to respond to the idea that this project is trying to mitigate all the effects of the traffic and the seeing the buildings from the view of Old Stockbridge Road. But what they're not saying is that most of the people on Old Stockbridge Road are against this project. And they've written many letters to you, the select board, outlining, I mean, not everybody is able to write well or speak well on this issue, but believe me, you have received many letters of people who are against this project. They're against the density, they're against the traffic, they're against the whole idea of it. And somebody mentioned Canyon Ranch. That's exactly the kind of thing we don't want to have on Old Stockbridge Road. Canyon Ranch is completely private organization. You cannot go in there as a townsperson. You can't walk there. You can't stay there unless you have $3,000 a day. That is not the kind of thing that we want to have in this neighborhood. Um, and I just want to reiterate what the other person said about it. This needs a new application. The old permit will not hold for this, and your peer review consultants said the same thing. They said that they need a new special permit because this is so different. So I guess that's all I want to say for now.
Thank you. Anyone else on the Zoom board? I don't see anyone. All right, I'm going to close public comment. Now we go back to board questions and clarifications. Georgia, do you have any questions?
No, I'm still struggling with the 38.
Me too.
Wait,
Chuck, do
cut
you
it
have-
down, cut it down. What number are you comfortable with?
$19. After everything.
All right, so 19 altogether, Georgia?
Yes.
Okay. So we have a range from Chucky's 38 to my 28 to Georgia's 19. Do we try to find our own middle before we ask what they?
Yeah. What to hear?
Would you like to hear from?
Yeah.
Okay. This gentleman.
Can I say something, please?
Who is it?
This is Rick Pizer. I'm one of the applicants and general partner. And our primary goal here is to save the mansion. We have cranked these
Madam
numbers.
Chair, I'm sorry, we have not laughed and heckled any speaker, regardless of how illegitimate we think their comments have been. We would ask for the same courtesy. Sorry, Rick.
Go ahead, Rick.
Go ahead.
May I continue?
Yes.
Yes.
Our main goal is to save the mansion and to recreate and preserve the Olmsted landscaping, which this is Olmsted's first great estate. And we know how precious that is. Frankly, the 38 number is absolutely crucial to having this project go ahead. And any reduction in that really makes it unviable and pretty much ensures that nothing's going to happen. As has been stated multiple times, it is the single family sales which enable us to pay the enormous cost of the mansion renovation and the restoration of the landscape. So I would beseech you to not cut that number, because any cut at all really makes the project unviable. And also, I would just point out that much of the fiscal benefits that occur to Stockbridge accrue are from the property taxes on the homes. So that plus the sales revenue from the hotel has tremendous benefits for the town. And also the number of houses directly is tied to our number of low-income units that we will be supporting. So thank you for the opportunity to point that out.
Okay, so do you have a number or do you?
I mean, honestly, like, we didn't come in here with 38 hoping to get 20. That's not the number wasn't arbitrary. It's based on pretty detailed economic forecasting of what's necessary. And I guess the question is, are we just cutting units for the sake of cutting units? If it's a question of open space, I mean, we feel that we're preserving a lot of open space. We're clustering these homes. If it's a question of the footprint, that's a different question, but just it feels a little bit arbitrary to just cut the units in half or cut it by 10. I haven't heard any specific, there's nothing in Beal's report, for instance, that says these units, you know, a reduction in units is necessitated by any objective standard. It just, it feels like if we come in with 50, maybe we could have gotten to the 38, but that's not what we did. We came in with what we think is the viable plan. So we would just ask that the board consider that, and if there's any actual objective impact that you're trying to reduce or address that we haven't heard yet, then we're happy to talk about that. But just using a reduction in the number of home sites as a proxy for that really is it's gonna make the project unviable.
And if I could also just add another point, you heard Rick comment on the two main reasons for this development: to preserve the mansion and to preserve the Olmsted landscape. And the costs of that, both of those, are not just let's build a hotel, you know, here's a motel. The cost of the preservation of the mansion is very high, and maintaining it is very high. And the costs of this landscape plan, which you just see sketched here, you can imagine. And the building of 2 roads, building of the buildings necessary for the resort, they really did careful economic review in order to get here. And so that's why we're asking this board to approve the project as proposed.
And a lot of those costs are fixed. Like the road has to go in, it costs the same. So anyway, we appreciate your concerns, and we wanted to be honest that this is, for us, it's not a matter of horse trading. This really is the plan that's necessary to make this happen.
You know from your own history on the project how difficult it is to get, even with it, you know, nobody would build that or fund that or do it.
What do you think? I mean,
27.
Would you like to hear from Ms.
I think. So what I'm hearing is unless you can build 38 houses, you can't fund to fix the spa. And so you can't say that the mansion is most important. It's really the housing, because you need that funding to pay for the resort and the mansion and the spa.
The housing that you're gonna sell to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That are gonna build, not the ones that you're gonna build,
but
rent out.
just selling.
I guess that's.
I guess
Sorry.
I'm not being disrespectful. I'm just trying to sort it out. And we are tasked with an important decision.
Absolutely.
And this is our job, and we shouldn't be made fun of or had people roll their eyes or snark at us or tell whisper or eat snacks. We're doing our job. Right?
I think all of
We have
us.
to ask these questions to our constituents and to our citizens. Like, we're doing our best we can. And I'm sorry I'm getting frustrated, but it's been several meetings and I've worked all day. I work in a public school that doesn't have enough for their budget. And it's like, and then common luxury homes for all. They're not for all. They're for some. And so we need to be respectful because it won't be for all. It will be for some. So we need to get through this process.
We agree. Thank you.
Yeah, I hope we have not in any way telegraphed that we think anything other than what you said. We're taking everything you say very respectfully. And, I think, you mentioned public schools. Public schools are very important. What pays it? Taxes, revenue. So the fact that you need the revenue to pay for the schools doesn't make the schools unimportant. We need the revenue to pay for the mansion. That doesn't make the mansion unimportant. It doesn't make preservation of the mansion, not foremost in our minds. What it means is that you need revenue to pay for preservation. And that's what this applicant has been trying to figure out, is how to have a project that works, that's going to generate the revenue necessary for what's really a pretty major undertaking. So we completely appreciate everything you're saying, and we're trying to be honest.
But the mansion is renovated before the housing starts.
Absolutely.
That's right.
So a mansion is the first thing that.
It's not that we want to build the houses, get the revenue, and then do it.
Right.
But, no capital market, no investor is going to invest in a project that doesn't pencil out.
I hear you.
And just, maybe I shouldn't be asking this, but if you do the mansion and then you're going to try to sell some houses, but then when are you going to build the units, housing that is going to be for the hotel use?
Concurrently. No,
With the hotel.
With the hotel?
That's part of the hotel.
Yeah.
So you would do the Olmsted lodging and the manor and whatever other
Resort facility.
resort housing all at the same time.
Yes.
Yes, but we recognize that we won't get occupancy permits until the mansion's done. And honestly, there's no resort until the mansion's done. Like, that's that has to be the first thing we do. That's where the restaurant's going to be. That's where the reception desk is going to be. So, but absolutely, that's going to be done first.
Michael has a question.
Well, just to clarify, you can do similar, what you could do is, because the back area is going to go into with conservation restriction on the back land. And the mansion, you could condition that prior to any building permits being issued for anything else, you can set the criteria for how it's going to be done. So it could be the mansion first. Once the mansion is completed, then they can pull the permits for the homesteads. Once the homesteads are done, then they can pull the permits for single family home.
Okay.
You can ask them if they'd be willing to, but it would guarantee, similar to what we've done with other projects, is ensuring that the mansion is completed. And if anything else happens with the project, that first step is taken care of 100%, because that is the mission of the cottage era bylaw.
I would go with the mansion and those 4-unit rooms. That's basically
The Homestead Lodges.
the homestead lodges as the first permit. When those are done. Because that's part of the hotel. I mean, that's your income.
Well, we kind of want to be able to, I mean, I if we can look at sort of the resort, because we're going to be renovating other existing buildings.
That's part of it.
We're going to be building a spa. It's kind of hard to open the hotel. If we have to finish the hotel before we can build the spa, then we're opening a hotel years before the spa is ready. I mean, we can post, if the concern is we're going to build this other stuff and not renew the mansion, rehab the mansion, we can post a surety. I would ask that occupancy be part of it. And the other thing is, if there are concerns about construction impacts, letting us do all this work at once on the resort facilities, at least, if not on the home sites, is going to dramatically pare down the construction period impacts and let us, get the hotel up and running.
And we would need the right to do the infrastructure. So the utilities, the roads, the balls, the grading, everything, not just in the area we mentioned, but the whole property.
But a condition that the mansion has to be done before the first
building permit is issued on single.
For the home sites?
Home sites.
Building permit as opposed to.
Home sites.
So
And the home
we would
sites.
still have to.
So hotel, your 4-unit
Condominium.
bedrooms,
market.
your spa, anything related to the hotel unit before you build the house, correct?
Right. Before the issuance of residential building permits.
We could
The hotel.
sell the home sites, we just couldn't, no one could pull a building permit.
Right, no pulling a building permit, but we could set up the condominium, sell condominium rights to build, design things that all could be done at once. Right? Because that's not a cost.
Up to this board.
Action.
But you could say no building permits will be issued
building
until the mansion is restored. And including the homestead. Yeah.
Wait, I'm sorry, I'm hearing different things. I thought that was just a single family house, it's not the.
Right.
No, so the hotel, the mansion, your 4-unit, things that are part of the hotel.
Isn't that the
Your-
homestead?
The homestead.
Yeah, that's why I was.
Your spa unit,
Residential.
Just not,
yeah, your spa unit, just not the residential.
Yeah.
I guess
Building permits.
and that would be until the mansion is done.
The mansion is done
We're
and
gonna be
your,
selling lots so that we can get revenue, so it won't be building permits. Just selling condominium right to build.
I don't see an
There's
issue
an
with
issue with
that.
this, there's an issue with this.
Yeah, go.
There's an issue in that this will take the term of development years more, which hurts the town, hurts all of us. I think we can have benchmarks, but I believe strongly that you guys, we should want to do the housing concurrently. There is an issue. I believe that a buyer is going to be very thoughtful about, I'm not buying this until I know this is all happening. But other than that, I mean, we have people who are calling us wanting to buy. I want them to buy, to be invested in this project and to move forward, not to say, well, you're going to have to wait 5 years. They're going to go, I'm going to be dead in 5 years. My guys are going to be dead in 5 years. So how do we fix that? I mean, I'm fine with that. I understand what's going on, but I just want to do all of it at one time.
I mean, what about occupancy? If we can't occupy any of the,
Oh, yeah, occupancy, that would be good. You could restrict occupancy
because no one's gonna close until they can move in.
until the mansion has got a certificate of occupancy. No occupancy of the single family.
It's a comfort of the board on this, but your number one mission is preservation of the mansion, which includes the spa buildings and the other ones, I understand.
And the living.
But the residential are secondary to the,
That's
I understand where the money comes from.
right.
But where, at what point is the board comfortable ensuring that the mansion is done?
Stored.
I mean, I guess the question is, if we can't get occupancy permits, what more incentive do we need to make sure the mansion gets done?
Do you want a bond posted to make sure that the mansion is built or preserved, restored? Like you would in a subdivision, you'd say you can't,
You're-
you know,
you're expert at that.
you don't do the road.
But when you're saying restoring the mansion, I thought the only thing that was happening was the ADA compliance and fire.
No.
This is the architect.
I know. Hi Pam, I know that you're the architect.
No, there's so much more being done to the mansion.
I meant the outside.
Yeah, but the inside's gonna be done too.
The billiard wing and all that?
Yeah,
Okay.
all the infrastructure and
All right.
is gone. Yeah, you.
I've been in there. I know that wing is.
Well, I have two, so I understand that. So I'm just
Right, it's not just
wanting.
ADA compliant and you asked me what was changing on the exterior.
Right.
But
the inside is.
Change, you know, in HVAC systems, electrical, right now, there are separate units on the ground to heat and cool each bedroom in there. It's archaic. It's a commercial building.
And there's a lot of
We need
dangerous.
to do commercial work, not residential work.
Okay.
We need fire suppression systems.
Right.
So we're taking that puppy apart and putting it back together.
Okay.
And actually, I think this is important. I've been in business 50 years. I have never been involved in a building that it costs more to renovate than to replace. That's always kind of the golden rule. If you buy it under cost of replacement, it's a good deal. This is so way over replacement cost, it's beyond belief.
That's what I was trying to say with the cost.
But we're willing to work on this. I mean, this isn't we're saying no, but we have, we don't want 12 years for this to get developed.
Could I make a suggestion?
Yes.
If we have a combination of a surety, we have to post a surety when we pull the first building permit for a home site, and we don't get a single occupancy permit for any of the single family homes until the mansion is done. So you're covered two ways, with the financial surety and with us knowing that none of the single family homes will be occupied until the mansion is completed.
That doesn't help. I don't think that helps the town. I mean, what if, we've got people who are bothering us to buy something. Don't we want them in if they're willing to do it?
I think the concern is they want to know
that we're going to
that the mansion's going to be done.
Totally understand.
So I'm just trying to.
Yeah.
What about a loan? Why doesn't that answer the concern?
Yeah.
A loan, a surety bond.
We're not a bank.
Well, we can look at those options. Those are options. We can look into them with legal.
To guarantee our work, that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, and it's typical of a subdivision, right? You post a bond because you're committed to do infrastructure repair.
Could we ask?
And
Could we ask our attorney?
sure, Chris Heap's on.
Christopher, are you on?
I am.
Can
Can
you-
you hear me?
Yes, can you answer those questions?
So I think the combination of posting a bond or other form of financial security and prohibiting any certificate of occupancy for the single family dwellings until the mansion is complete would provide the necessary security to make sure that, the mansion is done before the houses are sold and occupied. That's a condition that we could work out with between me and Jonathan, if there's, in the time between tonight and when we reconvene. But as a general matter, the combination of those two forms of security strikes me as a pretty solid foundation if what we're looking to do is absolutely guarantee that the mansion is completed before the single family homes are sold and occupied.
Okay, because they're gonna want that too, so it's total win-win. Put that in as a condition, absolutely, that works. What? Pam?
I mentioned the word sold. We are talking about.
No,
He said sold and occupied.
No, sold and occupied.
Yeah.
He knows we're doing a condominium, just the right to develop.
They're not
lots. They're not sold lots, not sold.
That will.
Well, somebody's buying the whether it's a condominium or a lot, someone's buying the unit and will.
Right.
And I assume, somebody made a comment earlier, I forget who, that closing on those units, whether they be condominiums or single family house lots, is unlikely to occur before a certificate of occupancy exists for the unit that somebody's going to want to buy. So I think that sort of, again, just means that a condition that prohibits the applicant from obtaining a certificate of occupancy for those houses ought to be adequate to provide the town with the comfort it's looking for, that the mansion will necessarily be completed before those units are sold or occupied.
Okay. We're fine with that. Thank you very much.
You fine with that?
Just trying to figure out the numbers.
We can
And
also,
I don't want to overcomplicate things at the moment, but if we're talking about if one component of that two-part proposed solution is the posting of a bond, obviously the amount is going to matter. But and I don't have a suggestion to make as to what the amount of the financial security would be, but that is something that will need to be resolved if we're going to put this in the form of a condition.
Yeah,
I suppose that's tied to the value of the remaining work for the mansion that exists when the bond is posted, but I need to think that through in a little bit more detail.
Yeah, and I think similar to the way a subdivision surety works, I think Chris and I can come up with language that basically says we have to provide certified estimate of the work remaining at the time we post the surety, which would be when we pull the first building permit for a single family residence. And that can be peer reviewed. And that number and the form of the surety would be subject to approval. And this is essentially the exact way that it works in the subdivision. If you want to sell one of the lots before all the work is done, you have to post that financial surety. It has to be in one of 3 forms listed in the statute. And there's a process for establishing that amount. And there's usually a contingency to buffer it. So I'm very confident Chris and I can come up with language that makes sense along those lines.
so Georgia and Chuck, shall we set a date to reconvene?
So
A date
are we
certain.
agreeing to?
No, we're not closing. We're just, that way Christopher and Mr. Silverstein can talk about the bonds and we can think about this some more and ask more questions. So we're not closing yet.
Okay.
We're just
So-
setting a date for certain.
We just number of houses.
We have nothing.
I didn't hear what Jamie said about the number of houses.
Well,
We didn't decide.
we didn't
Okay.
decide
We
yet, but
wouldn't
think-
close we wouldn't close it. We would just continue to a date certain. Or do you want to keep going?
Or you could close it and your board is still allowed to work.
Close it, what?
And we could still deliberate if we
Right,
close.
then.
I think we want to hear about the bonding and the rest. but-
Yeah, I think we need
Next meeting.
bonding information.
We'd like to
Your
hear-
attorney can
Right.
provide that to you. so
Right,
you
that's
can
true.
close the hearing. I mean, if that's the issue that's remained.
But can I just ask
Go
another
ahead.
question about the 38? Sorry.
No,
So out of the 38, do you have an idea of how many that you would like to build out of the 38?
Probably not.
You tell us what you think. I mean, I'm ambivalent about that, whether we build or not, totally.
If it makes a difference, we'll say 0.
Yeah, that's not our issue. I mean, we'd love to do it, but we need the 38, so whoever built it is completely.
I mean, but you're saying economically you need the 38, but then you are willing to build some of those 38?
If the market isn't good, then you can sell a finished house as opposed to a right to rent.
There are peaks and valleys in the market. There's a period in the market where it doesn't make sense to sell those and would make more sense, make them revenue generators for some period of time or to hold them. It's a matter of flexibility. I mean, any business benefits from flexibility. What we're saying is we're willing to give up that flexibility if that is of concern to you. We're comfortable giving up that flexibility, but we're not comfortable giving up the home sites. So if it's a matter of giving up home sites or giving up the flexibility to own and rent them as part of the resort, we have to give up the ability to own and rent them as part of the resort, even though we would like it, because we can't give up any of the actual 38.
So 38 is your bottom number, no matter what.
I mean, and it's not posturing. I mean, it's really, it's how it pencils out.
Frankly, we're not, I don't know, I'm gonna just say this, we're not planning on building any of them. Our thought is that's a good backstop. If the market doesn't like what we're doing, we may have to go in and move it along, get financing, get investors and build them up to specs. I mean, we would be delighted if all 38 were bought by buyers. Happiest in the world. But we need to mark to the market. That's the issue. We don't know what the market looks like. And then the municipal payment, affordable housing. That goes upon, I think,
That doesn't happen until everything is sold.
Yeah, but that's
Right.
on
It could be years.
that's on the 38 houses, not.
Right.
Well, the way we proposed it is that we would make payments as we go based on the number of units. So we're not waiting until we build number 38. We're making a payment, I think it's every 4 units or something like that. So you're getting the revenue as we go along.
Would you, Jonathan, no, we're kind of just talking out loud here, so. What if we commit to the affordable housing and pay it upfront? I mean, I'm a big on affordable housing.
Sometimes clients.
No, but I'm just saying.
I don't think that's one of our sticking.
Okay. That's excellent. Thank you. I'm just trying to find a way that.
Building affordable housing takes money and time too, so.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think doing the 4 units at a time is a great part on your end, because you don't have to. I think that helps the town out. I'll still stick with my 2018. If it's board's fine, if not, but that's my opinion.
And I'm sorry,
the 20.
I don't want to have misspoken. I was doing that off memory. Based on the bylaw, it's every 10 units.
Okay.
So I don't want to.
Bylaw, okay.
So
I corrected myself at the last hearing about the driveways. I'm correcting myself now about this.
And the patios.
Yes.
Sorry, Jonathan. So you're going to stick with 20, 21.
20 private, the 18 hotel, and if they want to sell more than the 20, then that's their prerogative.
An 18
But it
hotel.
comes to 38, George.
To 38, yes.
But then if they
Just a
decided
little
to,
flexibility, get some other income.
the 18 hotels, if they,
Not with hotels, but they're,
with a hotel
They owned by.
they own,
owned,
and they can sell if they want to.
they could sell those if they want to. Okay, that's my question to you.
Yeah, that would be an up to number. No more than 18.
No more than 18 for private. And,
No, that's not what you just said.
well, yeah, up 20
20 for private.
20
Could
private,
be built by the.
18 for the thing, but if you want to sell any of those or and all that, you're
Same.
able to sell.
That will work.
That would be fine. Or anything.
That's my proposal. We're talking a little less than 6 acres of property, which is nothing to the lot. What could go there down the road?
Yeah, right, if this doesn't work, right.
But didn't I hear it was 12 acres, but 6 of them was being built?
That's max. That's if each house is 7,500 and each house will not be 7,500.
We don't know that.
Yeah, some of the lots are.
I mean, I guess if you think about it, think about every house lot that sells in Stockbridge. Does everyone build the absolute largest house they're allowed to build?
Yes.
It's Stockbridge, yeah.
I suspect not. If you have a 2 or 4 acre house lot, I don't think there's anything to stop someone from building a 20,000 square foot house on it.
No.
And so that's not what everyone does. And some people are going to want big houses and some won't. But, and it's fair to take a conservative view and think of the absolute worst case scenario. That makes sense. But I don't think it's fair to make the assumption that that's going to be the reality. I don't think everyone is going to want to build 7,500 square feet.
Our lots don't allow it anyway.
Right.
There's only about 3 that will take a 7,000 square foot footprint with everything. So
No, I mean, I do, basically the houses I'm doing right now for high-end homes are about 6,000 square feet. People are not building big houses anymore. That's big.
That's giant.
That's the age code at the time.
We're lost 6,000.
That's big.
It is big.
Well, it's big, but it's not as big as they have been.
Right.
I'm in the building trade and they are getting smaller.
It's going down.
I mean, 6,000 is big, but they were 10, 12.
No, 6, I mean, those are, but typically, where they're 3,500, 3,000.
That's big ass.
Big up.
Back.
Which one more? Now I'm going to wait.
Well, either we do a date certain or we close the evidentiary portion. And then it's just our deliberation.
Yes.
You don't get to decide.
And you don't have to deliberate tonight. You could close the evidentiary portion and then reconvene at a date to deliberate and make your final
The
decision.
only sticking point is this number
Seems like it.
and we get the bonding. So if we get this straightened out, it's just the bonding and we're done.
Right, but it can be you three unless you still have questions for the applicant.
That's the only issue is the number.
Georgia, do you have more questions?
No, I think I've got all my answers except for the 38. Yeah, okay. Sorry. Just like,
All right.
I keep reading and reading and reading and trying to decipher and I find something else and I'm sorry.
It's a lot of, there's a lot going on.
So
I read
Georgia, do you feel
sleepiness in my head.
comfortable? Do we want to close to certain or close the evidentiary? So it's just us.
Yes, I'm fine with that.
Okay. So at this point, we will close the special permit hearing
Evidentiary.
in the evidentiary portion to a date certain. We have April 9th or April 23rd with Georgia.
I'm sure that you and Chris could figure that out by
The 9th.
the 9th,
It will most
right?
definitely.
Jonathan?
That should be fine.
That's okay?
That should
And
be
then
fine.
Thanks, Chris.
would, we have to have our conditions ready for that night?
We have some of them already
We
typed
we
up.
already have outlines to legal. We'll have conditions for you to review and everything, and then you'll vote on the final item.
Okay, excuse me, but we're still talking up here. We still have a meeting, so if you could kind of like take your comments outside, that would be great.
I'd like to get this off the table. If not, it's fine.
Right.
I'm fine with that,
We
Jamie.
need a motion to close the portion,
I'll make-
evidentiary
I'll make a
portion.
motion, we close the evidentiary portion.
I'll second. All in favor?
Hi,
Aye.
Georgia.
Aye, Jamie. All right, so now we have to go to a date certain.
The 9th. We would love it.
April 9th.
Georgia, do you
I'm fine with April 9th.
like, okay. So the next date we will meet,
Motion, roll call vote on everything.
don't I do the date first?
Yeah.
Okay, so I need a motion for April
Make a
9th.
motion for April 9th.
Second.
All in favor?
Chuck.
At 6.
Hi, Georgia.
Aye, Jamie, at 6:30 PM. All right, thank you everyone for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.